the first movie we're going to talk about in this segment is The Turning, which is an adaptation of the 1898 Henry James novel, it's a ghost story, really, which is The Turning of the Screw.
Is it that old, like the book?
1898, yeah.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah.
I need to read more.
Yeah, I know. Well, you should at least Wikipedia
Shouldn't I?
it. This is basically now adapted and set in the 1990s. I think it's 94.
It's just after Cobain died, because I think early on we get a mention.
And they make a big thing about Kurt Cobain dying in the first sequence of the movie. But the 90s thing is not really ever explored in it. Anyway, let me tell you kind of what the premise is. It's about a young teacher who takes a job looking after a girl and her brother whose parents, aristocratic parents, have been killed in a car accident. So she goes in essentially as a live-in nanny or governess.
That's it, the governess. I was trying to remember what the word was.
Yeah,
it's
governess,
isn't it?
but I think governess is quite an old terminology for it. So to put it, she's basically there as a teacher, a live-in teacher for them. And as she spends more and more nights in this big old spooky old mansion with 2 kids and a live-in governess as well, things get more crazy.
I thought I was going crazy, but I'm not. He's here. Oh. You know that, don't you? We need to leave. No, I can't. I'm sorry for everything. Flora won't leave without you. We need to go. Can't. You won't let me leave.
Oh, we should say off the back of that clip that the boy of the 2 children is Finn Wolfhard from Stranger Things and It.
And the governess is Mackenzie Davies.
Mackenzie
who
Davies,
you'll recognise from the latest Terminator film.
Martian for me. Oh, San Junipero.
Yeah.
I was trying to come up with that the other day. Like, what would people know?
As in Black Mirror?
Yeah, Black Mirror, San Junipero.
Yeah.
That's the biggie of Black Mirror, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Deservedly so. I think
She's a great actress.
Right.
And look, I'm going to start by saying I don't fault any of the performances in this.
Do you not?
I think Mackenzie Davis is fine in this.
Right.
Finn Wolfhard is okay.
They're all fine in their own distinct films. Right, and that's the thing, because I was listening to you tell me the plot of that, and I was genuinely on the edge of my seat with suspense, because I wanted to know what you thought the film was about, because I don't think the people writing it do. It seems to have about 9 different plots that it's doing at any given time, and then, spoiler alert, they end the movie suddenly and then just do another ending, and then they don't bother wrapping anything up.
Right, to counter what you're saying,
Yeah.
some would suggest that the filmmaker has actually steered too close to the source material, therefore not given themselves enough artistic license to make this interesting for a modern day audience. Now, don't get me wrong, there have been many adaptations of The Turning of the Screw. There was a BBC adaptation which I did watch. The positive thing about that is that the story itself is relatively timeless. You can place it in different eras, which I think works.
Yeah.
What I would have liked to have seen is some reasoning as to why it's set in the 90s, because apart from a Walkman, Kurt Cobain's death, and lack of mobile phones, there's not much more to it.
That's the Joker dilemma, isn't it? It's, why is this film set in the 80s? There's no specific reason that it would be. I mean, there's actually a massive contradiction in that case. But I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah.
Just Mercy had this recently as well.
Right.
Just Mercy is set in the 90s, and you don't notice for the first half of the film because it's just not important.
Yeah.
Which is odd.
But the interesting thing about this movie is that it just never gets going. So this movie should be a combination of jump scares and psychological horror.
Yes,
right?
It should. But it would have to have a through line for that to work.
Yes, and it doesn't. And the thing is that you're spending the majority of this movie going, get on with it. And then the ending is so curt that you're kind of going,
Which one though? Because
what was the point? And this is the thing. And then we were educated when we came out going, what the hell have we just watched? By one of the other critics going, actually, the original Henry James novel does have an indecisive ending. Yeah. And that made me think, sometimes you've got to just do what's best for the movie and take it into a different direction.
Right. I will counter as well by saying, do you know who the filmmaker is on this, out of interest? Because I wasn't overly familiar with her.
No.
Right, so it's Floria Sigismondi, who is a Canadian artist, art filmmaker, photographer, and music video director. She has worked with artists, I've got the list in front of me, artists such as Justin Timberlake, Rihanna, Leonard Cohen, Katy Perry, and David Bowie.
So she's making an hour and a half long music video.
That's the thing, and you start to wonder about the Kurt Cobain thing, elements like that. She's also directed things like Hemlock Grove and Daredevil for Netflix. There is a specific horror bent. She also did that Kristen Stewart Runaways movie about 10 years ago. So there is a very music video sensibility within her. And
It's a bit like Hannah. I always found Hannah was like a...
kind of like a music video. And you wonder if that sensibility, unlike Hannah, if that sensibility here has found its way to bleed into the narrative as well. To be, do you know what? It can be more conceptual, which I think is absolutely the wrong position to take. It's worth noting, we were embargoed on this till quite late in the game.
Yeah, and that's never a good sign, unfortunately.
It isn't,
but you know, I wish I could say, like, it's the first horror of 2020, right? And I was like going, well, okay, let's see how this year sets off in the world of horror. It falls flat.
No thumbs?
No thumbs.
No thumbs. No thumbs from me either.
No, a big waste of an hour and a half of our time. Make sure you guys don't waste yours.
Half a thumb because Mackenzie Davis exists. That's about it.
She's all right. You know, I'd give half a thumb for the performances because they're okay.
But each one seems to be a story of a movie.
Yeah.